Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel for the first time if you are coming here from the link in my Etsy shop. So today's video is a little bit different. This is the first video that I've done where I am showing how to make a card with an SVG that I have drawn up myself. If you're interested in seeing the Adobe Fresco time-lapse on me drawing it, that's over on TikTok and I'll leave the link below. While this card has been designed for Valentine's Day and to come out in time for that occasion, it would also make a really good friendship card or anniversary card, or anyone who you like to see cringe with lame puns. This card is inspired by one of my favorite video games, so if it's not looking very familiar to you, you might not be familiar with the game, and that's okay, but I hope you enjoy the video. As this is my first digital file on Etsy, I decided to just go with an SVG. There are heaps of other different file types, but this is the first time I've done it and I thought I would just keep it simple. So here I am uploading it into my Cricut Design Space. It should also work in the Silhouette Design Studio. If you have any troubles at all with your download, please let me know and I'll do my best to help you figure it out. As you can see on the screen, there's been a lot of trial and error with this. So I'm really excited to have a proper SVG for you to use with your favorite cutting machine. So I didn't show too much of all my cardstock getting cut out. That's pretty straightforward. And I'm assuming if you're purchasing SVGs, then you would know how to use your machine to cut them out. But if not, just send me a message and I'm happy to help with that too. So what I'm mostly showing in this video is how to assemble the card, because you're just given a bunch of pieces and my listing shows an example of a finished card. And while I feel like it's pretty straightforward, I'm the one who drew it, so of course it's going to be easy for me. So what I'm starting with here is a rectangle that I have actually cut with a metal die. If you don't have anything like this, a plain piece of cardstock that measures around 5.5 by 4.25 inches is perfect. And also resizing your SVG to fit on that. For some reason when you open SVGs in Cricut Design Space in particular, it makes them ginormous. So always make sure you're resizing before you do your cuts. So what I'm doing here is just rubbing a bit of Distress ink around the edges just to darken them up and make this look a little dirty. This image is designed to look like a fossil that has been dug up out of the ground, and the ground in the game is pretty much this color. Today I'm using a fairly heavy cardstock, and I think every single color that I'm using is from American Crafts. Here I am adding a little bit of gold watercolor pigment for a bit of sparkle. These details are absolutely not necessary, but I figured if I'm showing you how I assemble a whole card, I'm going to show it from start to finish. Before I start sticking these pieces together, I'm going over this bottom blue piece with my black ink brush, and that's just, again, for a little bit of dimension and shadow. Next I'm going to add these tiny blue pieces, and these go at the top to the side, and I guess it's just to make it look either shiny or this is where the light is hitting this piece. With almost all of my crafts, I use this fine tip applicator. They are super cheap. I get mine from craftonline.com.au. They're about $3 or $4 for a 2-pack, and I fill them with cheap kids PVA glue. This has always worked perfectly for my cards and crafts. For all of these heart pieces, there is a lighter one with some lines cut out and a solid one. The one with lines is going to be on top so that you can see that solid piece through the holes. This is just to give it a little bit of cartoony texture. If you want to give this a little bit more dimension, I recommend rubbing some brown ink on the parts of the lower piece that stick out. I'm going to glue this into the center of my blue cardstock. This is probably the only tricky part, and looking back on it, maybe I should have designed it a little bit more differently. But this lighter blue piece doesn't need to be glued entirely down onto the dark blue piece. So what I'm doing here is just lining up the points on the right side and making it, I guess, a bit of a straight line on the left side. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I hope the pictures and seeing it in the video helps. So I've repeated the process for these tiny hearts, sticking the darker piece of brown cardstock behind the lighter one, again so we can see that dark cardstock through the holes. I'm gluing both of them on the darker piece of blue cardstock, not too worried about getting the angles right, I just want them there together. So I haven't stuck my main piece on my background yet, I'm just using it here as a guide. And what I'm going to do now is stick these letters on. I think one of the funniest things about making an SVG for the first time is seeing my scribbly handwriting turned into physical letters that I'm holding. Again, I'm using some PVA glue for these, and I find that handy. If you just need to wiggle them around a little bit, this glue gives you just a few seconds to change your placement. I'm going to be adding a little bit of dimension on the front of this card, so now is the time where I add my double-sided tape. I'm going to be adhering this whole piece onto a card base soon. Once all my double-sided tape is done, I remove the backing and add it to a plain white card base. This card base is only just slightly smaller, maybe by a few millimeters, but going for something around the 5.5 by 4.25 inches will be perfect. Before I go adding dimension to the front, I'm also going to stick my stamp logo on the back. And now for the final part, I've added some foam squares to the back of the main piece here, and I'm just going to pop it in the center. Once I'm happy with the placement, I push it down, and there we have it. This card is complete. It is so easy to put together. I've already made 2 of them. I hope you like it, and I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, then please give it a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions or need any help with this, or maybe even any comments on the design. It is my first one, and I would love some feedback. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.